foster mom for orphan baby squirrels. It was a program for the Yggdrasil Wildlife Rescue Center. And I know you're probably thinking, squirrels? Do they really need rescuing? There's a lot of them. You probably think I'm really into animals, but not really. I had my kids who were 4 and 7, and they really wanted a pet. And my husband is allergic to cats. A dog felt like too much responsibility, and I felt like none of us had the emotional attention span to last the entire lifetime of a gerbil or a hamster. So I got them an ant farm. And I think they were hoping for something a little more interactive, maybe something cuddly, like a mammal. So when I heard about this program at the Wildlife Rescue Center, I thought, this is perfect. I mean, squirrels are really adorable, they're cute, and you only keep them for 3 or 4 months, and then they're released in the wild. And it doesn't matter, kids, how much you're gonna beg, it is the law. You cannot keep a squirrel as a pet in the state of California, like the wildlife police might come to our house. So this is the perfect pet. So I signed up, I did the training, and I waited for the call. So for us, it happened one day. There was a big storm, and a squirrel nest fell from a tree. The squirrel mom ran away. Baby squirrel ended up in the puddle. Happy day. The little bundle of joys was placed with us. We named him Luke, like Luke Skywalker. Our kids were really into Star Wars, plus it seemed like a good name for a squirrel. And I don't know if you've ever seen a 3-week-old squirrel. It does not have a bushy tail. In fact, it doesn't really have any hair at all. Its eyes are fused shut until they're about 6 weeks old. It looked like something between a fetus and a rat. It was love at first sight. It just fit in your hand, and all it needed is to be fed and kept warm and feel love. So we fed him puppy formula with like a little syringe with a little rubber nipple at the end. And then most of the time, I kept it in my hand, in my pocket. At night, he had like a little heating pad, but the rest of the time, it was my pocket. And it didn't even get my pocket dirty, because if in the wild, a baby squirrel pee and pooped everywhere, it would get the nest really smelly, and it would attract predators. So the way nature worked it out is mama squirrel feeds them, and then she licks them clean, and that the grooming stimulates them to evacuate. So I did not have to lick them. I used a little tissue, a little wet tissue. But anyway, there was just a lot of maintenance. Like they had to be fed every 3 hours, and you have to like go just the right speed so it doesn't come out the nose. This was all fine during the day. I mean, I signed up for this. This was really rewarding. But then I had to go to work. So I'm a freelance designer, and when I signed up for this program, I thought this is fine because I work from my home office all the time. I just go to meetings just now and then. But by the time Luke arrived into our house, I actually got I was doing a maternity leave replacement at Electronic Arts. It was a really cool gig. I was doing the companion website for the video game Spore. And it was really important for me. I really wanted to look professional, and bringing a rodent into the office was not the look I was going for. So I tried to stay real discreet about it. I just kind of kept it in my pocket and just kind of in the bathroom, tried to feed it, but that didn't last long. I was in a meeting one day, and the meeting just kept going on and on past feeding time, and my pocket just started squealing. And this was the early 2000s. Everybody had funny ringtones, so people were like, is that your phone? I was like, no, actually, it's my squirrel. But actually, I shouldn't have worried. People were really cool about it. I mean, I don't know if you know the video game Spore. Basically, you design this creature, and then you nurture it into civilization. So it was weirdly appropriate. And people got used to it around the office, and I just got really good at double tasking. I'd be like discussing design direction while nursing my infant. But I remember this one time where I might have gone a little too far. I was having this heated conversation with the art director about my design for the badges, for the leaderboard page, and I was stroking my rodent. And he was just like, Lucie, what are you doing? I was like, oh, it's nothing. It just needs a little manual stimulation, after meals. Yeah, so it didn't really convey high-end design consultant. But if you think that's bad, then Luke got diarrhea. The smell. My co-workers around me would look up from their desk, sniff the air, and look at me suspiciously. It was mortifying. I thought I was gonna die. In fact, I thought Luke was gonna die, because diarrhea is quite serious for an animal that young, but thankfully that episode was mercifully short. He ate for antibiotics, and enough of that. He grew up, and then the following week, we got another squirrel. This was always part of the plan. The Wildlife Rescue Center always tried to have at least 2 squirrels per volunteer, so the little critters grow up knowing they're squirrels, if you see what I mean. And indeed, those 2 immediately took a liking to each other, and we called the other guy Busta Nut. He was about a week younger than Luke, but he was already bigger, just kind of big boned. He was like a big booty Busta. And they would just curl up, and it was just so cute to watch. And except they would like curl up and kind of get all cozy, and then Luke would ow, just kind of yelp and jerk back, and I was like, that's strange. But then calm down and curl up again, and then ow, it would happen again. So I was like, what's going on? Is Luke sick again? So I really observed them, and then I noticed that Busta was biting Luke on the penis. What was that about? So I called the Wildlife Rescue Center, explained what was going on, and Lila, the squirrel lady, said like, oh, yeah, I'm really sorry. That happens sometimes with our male squirrels. We call it sibling suckling. So basically what's going on is Busta is looking for his mama's nipple, but she's not around, and Luke's penis is the closest substitute he found. Well, what are we gonna do? She was like, oh, don't worry, he'll grow out of it. I was like, yeah, but in the meantime, she was like, well, just keep them apart. So I tried that, but it did not go well. They were missing each other. They were just kind of looking around, looking really forlorn. I just couldn't do it. So I put them back together, and they'd be very pleased and curl up and cozy up, and ow! So I tried to move them different position, but I couldn't look them over the whole time. But then I had an idea. I'm crafty. I'm gonna sew some little squirrel pants. So I got a little piece of felt, some thread, and put together the world's smallest chastity belt. It had a hole for the tail, and just kind of stuff Luke in there. He did not like it. He squirreled out of it immediately. So I had to improve on the design. I kind of experiment with loops and straps and belts and made it a little tighter. I never really found the perfect design, but at least it stayed on long enough to kind of deter Busta a little bit. Sometimes they would even fall asleep. Anyway, she was right. They did grow out of it after a while. They were just, their eyes were now open, and they would start scramble around and practice climbing, and they seemed to have left that sibling suckling behind. By now, they had graduated to a cage. I did not carry them in my pocket anymore. I didn't even need to take them to work. They were living in that cage where we had put a bunch of branches. In the branches, we chucked some leaves and some fruits that they would practice hunting for their food. They were really clumsy, just really adorable to watch them try to hold a nut. It was really fun. And in the corner of the cage, we put this little hammock, where this is where they slept. slept and where they kind of chilled. And then one day I noticed like the hammock was kind of swinging, so I took a peek. And guys, it was still happening. They were kind of in this like 69 position. And Busta just had his little face stuffed between Luke's legs, and except now Luke looked like he was enjoying it. I mean, I guess Busta learned to not use his teeth anymore, and now it was consensual. I mean, what I was gonna do, I'm okay with this. I mean, I don't mind gay squirrels, and they're not actually brothers, so it's not even incest. So, like, just go for it, guys. Just whatever brings you comfort. And then they kept growing, and after a few weeks they moved out of that cage, and they moved outside. There was one more stage before they got released in the wild, and the Wildlife Rescue Center came and helped us build this big enclosure in our garden. It was like 7 feet tall, like just really big in every direction, and we put like big branches in there. And in the wild, this would be when Mama Squirrel would wean them and not really feed them anymore, and so this was our cue to like stop interacting with them, because the plan was to dehabituate them from humans, so we were not to pet them anymore, we're not to play with them. So I just went in there to change the water and put some food. So because of that, it took me a few days to notice that Luke was gone. And first I was like, well, there must be a hole somewhere, he must have escaped. So I went in the cage, looked everywhere, no holes. And then I just kind of patted the little hammock, and there was something hard in there. I looked in, and it was Luke's body. I was like, man, I'm so sorry, I don't know what happened. So I called the Wildlife Rescue Center, and she said, oh, I'm really sorry. Put him in the freezer, I'll come back later, and I'm gonna do a necropsy, which is like an autopsy for animals. So I went to the freezer, put him between the snow cone and the chicken fingers. And when my kids got home that day, I told them the sad news, and I told them, and by the way, if you want a popsicle, ask me, I'll get it for you. And then later, Lila came in, and she took the furry popsicle and took it to her house. And then the next day, she called me and said, "Oh, I know what Luke died of. He died of a bladder infection." I was like, "How can you even tell?" She's like, "Well, I can tell because his bladder was very enlarged, and it looked like he hadn't been able to pee for a long time because his penis was all red and infected." Oh my God. I know what killed Luke. It was excessive oral sex. And my first thought was, I cannot tell my kids. They're 4 and 7, my innocent little boys. They probably never even heard of oral sex. And I don't want their first exposure of it to it. Watch it, kids. If you do too much of it, it can kill you. No way. So I just told them Luke died of an infection. And it wasn't until years later, when they were much older, that I finally told them the truth. And once they were old enough and mature enough to understand that whatever strange things you do with your bedfellows, it might hurt you, but it's very unlikely to actually kill you.
Santa Sofia!